Many years ago, there lived an emperor who was so exceedingly fond of fine new clothes that he spent all his money on being elaborately dressed. He took no interest in his soldiers, nor did he care for the theater, nor for driving in the woods, except for the sake of showing off his new clothes. He had a coat for every hour of the day, and just as one says of a king that he is in his council chamber, people always said of him, the emperor is in his dressing room. Life was very gay in the great town where he lived. Strangers were always coming and going. One day, 2 swindlers arrived who called themselves weavers. They said they knew how to weave the most magnificent cloth imaginable. Not only were the colors and patterns extraordinarily beautiful, but the clothes made from this cloth had the remarkable quality of being invisible to anyone who was either stupid or unfit for the position he held. Those must be splendid clothes, thought the emperor. If I wore them, I could find out which men in my kingdom are unfit for their positions. I could tell the clever ones from the stupid ones. Yes, I must have some of that cloth woven for me at once. And he paid the 2 swindlers a large sum of money so they could begin their work straight away. They set up their looms and pretended to weave, though there was not a thread on the empty frames. They demanded the finest silk and the purest gold thread, which they stuffed into their own bags, and they worked at the bare looms far into the night. Everybody in the town had heard of the remarkable cloth, and they were all eager to see how stupid or incompetent their neighbors were. The emperor presently sent his trusted old minister to see how the work was progressing and to find out whether the cloth would soon be ready. The honest old minister went into the hall where the swindlers sat working at the empty looms. Merciful heavens, thought he, opening his eyes very wide. I cannot see anything at all. But he did not say so. The swindlers begged him to come nearer and asked if the colors and the pattern were not beautiful. They pointed to the empty looms, and the poor old minister kept opening his eyes wider, but he could see nothing, for there was nothing to see. Good Lord, he thought, can I really be so stupid? Am I unfit for my position? I must never tell anyone. So he praised the cloth he could not see, and expressed his enthusiasm for the beautiful colors and the splendid pattern. I will tell the emperor that I am very pleased with it, said he. And so he did. The swindlers now demanded more money, more silk, and more gold thread, and they put it all in their own pockets. Another official was sent to see how the weaving was progressing. He looked and looked, just as the minister had done, but since there was nothing there, he could see nothing. Is this not a beautiful piece of cloth? Asked the swindlers, showing him the empty loom and explaining the exquisite design that was not there. I know I am not stupid, thought the man, so I must be unfit for my position. That is very bad. I must not let anyone find out. So he praised the cloth he could not see, and assured the emperor of its magnificent quality. The whole town talked of the splendid cloth, and now the emperor wished to see it himself while it was still on the loom. With a number of his courtiers, including the 2 honest officials who had already been there, he went to visit the 2 clever swindlers who were weaving away as hard as ever, without a single thread upon the frames. But I can see nothing at all, thought the emperor. This is terrible. Am I stupid? Am I not fit to be emperor? That would be the most dreadful thing that could happen to me. Oh, it is beautiful, said he aloud. It has my highest approval. And he smiled with satisfaction and looked at the empty loom, for he would not admit that he could see nothing. All his courtiers looked and looked, and though they could see no more than the others, they all said, as the emperor had said, "Oh, it is beautiful." They advised him to have clothes made from this magnificent cloth, and to wear them for the first time in the grand procession that was shortly to take place. The emperor granted each of the swindlers a knighthood and the title of imperial court weaver. The two swindlers sat up the whole night before the procession, burning many candles so that people could see. They were busy finishing the emperor's new clothes. The emperor undressed, and the swindlers pretended to help him on with his new clothes, one piece after another. They pretended to fasten something around his waist and to fix something to his shoulders. "This is the train," they said, as they pretended to attach it. The emperor turned about before the mirror. "How magnificent I look," said the emperor. "What a perfect fit." And the courtiers all said the same. The two noblemen who were to carry the train stooped and pretended to lift it from the floor, not daring to let anyone see that they could see nothing. So the emperor walked in the procession under the beautiful canopy, and all the people in the streets and at their windows said, "How magnificent are the emperor's new clothes! What a splendid train!" No one would confess that he could see nothing, for that would have shown that he was unfit for his position, or else very stupid. None of the emperor's clothes had ever before received such admiration. "But the emperor has nothing on at all," cried a little child. The child's words were whispered from one person to another until everyone was saying, "The emperor has nothing on at all." The emperor felt very uncomfortable, for it seemed to him that the people were right. But he thought to himself, "I must go through with it now, procession and all." And so he held himself more proudly than before, and the two noblemen who were to carry the train held their hands up higher and walked with even greater dignity, as though they too were carrying a magnificent train, even though there was nothing there at all. The chamberlains walked on, holding up the train that was not there. And so the emperor walked on in his invisible clothes through the great crowd that lined the streets, who all cheered and praised what none of them could see, while above the noise of the people, the little child's voice still rang out, clear and true and unavoidable, telling what only the innocent dared speak.